everyone. We're back at CBC Live at TIFF here at the Intercontinental Hotel. Whoa, we are way into the festival.
It's also the internet. We got internet happening all over.
We also do have internet. I'm Jamie Ordolis. This is Deanna Sumanak. Deanna, you know, we're way into the festival, like I just said. You are still doing interviews with great celebrities, though. Tell me who you saw this morning.
Yeah, this is like I'm cueing Chariots of Fire music. Dun, dun, dun,
Exactly,
dun,
I'm
dun.
feeling
We're
that too.
running through the finish line right now. I actually, right before I sat down with you, I sat down with another lovely lady in purple, Penelope Cruz, who is here promoting her film Twice Born. Now, this is a drama about the war in former Yugoslavia in Bosnia, but it's also a love story between her and Emil Hirsch. So I got a chance to speak to him as well. She was gorgeous. She was so lovely. Journalist before me gave her a little gift pack, which included, among other things, a razor, like a Venus leg shaver.
Oh, wow.
And she said, I will need that for tonight because you see I'm wearing pants. So cute. She's
Thank
really
you for
funny.
that impersonation. All right, we've also got great guests with us here today. Ruba Nadda and the star of her film Inescapable, Alexander Siddig. They're going to be sitting with us in just a few moments. But first, you've got something special for us from the red carpets.
Yes, we were just mentioning a funny moment that, that Penelope just said, but funny things happen on red carpets all the time. And our editor put together the sort of the best of Funny Pack, the stuff you didn't see on red carpets. Have a look.
How are you going to create some mayhem tonight?
Oh, I'll f some shit up. I imagine I'll be f some shit up.
Some days you're working with someone who barely speaks English because they're from China or South Korea. Sometimes you're working with Hugh Grant, and he hardly speaks English himself.
Well, Doris is the only person that truly understands Joaquin. And you want to ask again?
Can you smell that weed? Yeah. Somebody's smoking weed. I love Canada.
What was interesting was this independent film. It may have been $100 million, but it was independent, so there was no studio breathing down your neck.
Thank you, Eli. Good to see you. I like your suit. I would say it's like a plum, or perhaps eggplant.
Yeah, a little wine, you know. It depends on the light.
Wine.
Yeah,
Get that. There we go.
Wow. Yeah. Payback, huh? Is that how it goes?
I was saying nice things about your film, and I heard you give me rabbit ears.
This is the low.
That's it, the rifle's coming out.
All right, that was really fun and
That
funny.
was really fun. We know the reality of that, and that is what it's like. Yeah.
It's been so fun dishing with you guys about what really happens and getting to see stuff like that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So before we bring on Ruba and Alexander, tell me a bit about Inescapable. I saw it, but I'm interested in your take.
It's interesting because I told you about Twice Born with Penelope Cruz, and there definitely seems to be an ongoing theme of conflicts that we know of from the movies in Twice Born, the war in Bosnia, and in Inescapable, the conflict in Syria. And these films put on a human face onto what can sometimes be violent but kind of bleak reality of war. And I mean, interestingly, of course, she wrote this film, which is about a father's search for his daughter in Syria, before Syria was in the news, so it really brings a humanity to the reality that we only know from the news.
Definitely. And they also have a subplot, which is the love story between Alexander Siddig's character and Marissa Tomei's character. Wasn't Marissa Tomei incredible in this film?
I love her.
I thought, I mean, you're European, I'm European. I thought really what she nailed was the hand gestures.
It's true.
Of a
We talk with our
European
hands a
woman
lot.
and talking like this.
It's true.
And
So true.
what a change makeup can make. Wow,
For sure.
she really looked like, didn't you think it was an incredible transformation?
It was an incredible transformation. She is one of those people that can look really glam or, when needed, more dowdy. Like, I kept on thinking of her in The Ides of March last year with George Clooney and Ryan Gosling, where she plays a Washington Post journalist.
Yes.
A journalist on a political trail with big goggle glasses and her hair not done, but she can clean it up on red carpet as well. And I think you got some pictures to show us from that.
Oh, yes, we do. And we actually have, you know what, guys? Why don't we skip ahead to the best and the worst of TIFF fashion this year?
Oh, awesome.
And give
Great.
Alexander and Ruba another second. So let's check out TIFF fashion. We have Who are we starting out with? All right,
Kristen
this
Stewart.
is my pick for the best TIFF fashion starlet this year. That's
Gorgeous.
Kristen Stewart. And let's see, she was on the road carpet premiere in Zuhair.
I was there.
Murad, you saw her. You saw her in person.
Yeah.
What was it like?
I loved it. It was gorgeous. I mean, I think I've mentioned before, she's really, really, really thin.
Really, really tiny.
But you kind of
But
have
man,
to
it
be
works.
to wear that dress.
Absolutely.
Which has so much color on it, so much pattern, but it's gorgeous.
And it was my favorite because of the embellishments, and I thought it was perfect for the red carpet in her age. All right,
Beautiful.
next up was Keira Knightley. She, of course, was the
love
star of
her.
Anna Karenina, and
at
she was
this.
wearing Elie Saab, and I just thought that she knows how to do a gown right and really brought it for TIFF.
She really does. And she knows, I always watch her in these Chanel commercials now because she's the face of Coco Chanel
Absolutely.
perfumes. And she really knows how to do that classic glamour, really big gowns and dresses with a lot of volume and make them look modern and fresh and young.
Exactly.
Love that.
Kate Hudson is up next. She was wearing Alexander McQueen at the premiere of The
love
Reluctant
this.
Fundamentalist.
She's so
you know,
stunning.
an
Love
American
this.
beauty with beautiful blonde hair in white. You can't go wrong with that.
Love it. She looks so modern, so sleek. She's just, I think she's the cover girl for Ann Taylor right now. And
She
she's
is,
rocking
she is.
all those outfits so well. I mean, I think she's really
She
come
makes
into
them
her
look
own.
younger and hotter, actually, Ann
exactly,
Taylor. All right,
yeah.
Nina Dobrev is a Canadian starlet. I think she's one
Right.
of the best bodies in Hollywood. And I love that she really dressed up in Monique Lhuillier for the premiere of Perks of Being a Wallflower.
I loved her in this movie. She's really, I mean, she's known for teen vampire flicks, so I think this really shows
Degrassi
growth
and
for
Vampire
her.
Diaries.
Yeah, and I think that it looked so pretty and so fresh. It was age appropriate, you know?
Yes, she's absolutely beautiful. All right, Jennifer Lawrence. This is at the Silver Linings Playbook
Yeah,
premiere.
I was not at this carpet, but people told me that she looked absolutely amazing. Like, look at this.
It's Dior.
Wow.
It's, you know, this looks like
And
it's
her
a
hair is
graphic
dark.
print,
Yeah.
which Jeannie Becker told us is the big thing this season.
And it
So
kind
I
of has
think
an
she was-
ombre shading
Exactly,
to
a
it as well.
tie-dye ombre, and I thought she looked beautiful.
Loved it.
All right, so those are our 5 best dressed.
Beautiful.
Let's take a very quick look. We're not going to, talk about them too much, but we'll
Mean-spirited.
show you the worst.
Okay, the ones we
All
did
right,
not
so
love.
Halle Berry at Cloud Atlas. You know, for such a beautiful woman, I think that this suit
No.
was a little rocker, not so
No.
TIFF.
When you're Halle Berry, honestly, I would wear a bandage dress, as I am right now, to the grocery store. If you're Halle
Exactly.
Berry, you just go with a beautiful, glamorous dress because you can afford it.
Susan Sarandon, you know, we've grown up watching Susan Sarandon as a
Yeah.
great beauty, and I just think she missed the mark for the premiere of
Yeah.
Cloud Atlas.
What's
in a
up with the suit?
Yeah,
No.
and she has a large bosom, and this just, brought her down.
And she's so sexy. I met her a few years ago. She really has that like confident sexual energy.
She always
Doesn't
has. Think
show
about
in
Rocky
this.
Horror Picture Show,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And Elle Fanning, well, we love her because she takes such risks with fashion, but sometimes it's a miss, and so I'm sorry.
All of our misses are suits.
I know. Yes, good
Purple
point.
purple suit. It just looks like the Joker. There's no why. Why?
There's
This
a
is
way to
bad.
do a suit, and Jennifer Aniston has done it well
Yes.
for the Golden Globes, and it's usually low cut and
Cut,
sexy
sleek.
and black or white.
Yeah, fitted.
And this is not it. All right, so Alexander and Ruba are ready. So
Are they?
before we
Okay.
bring them on, let's look at Marissa Tomei and Joshua Jackson, who co-star with Alexander in the film on the red carpet, talking about what the film taught them about Syria and about working with Ruba.
Great.
I have only access to the media that we all have access to. So in the time that we were shooting the movie, it's February, March of last year. So that's, a year into the Arab Spring and sort of into the second phase of the Syrian conflict, but before the all-out civil war that's happening there right now. So having access to Ruba, even in casual conversation, to just talk about what the more nuanced version of the story is and how many different currents are actually at play at any given time in Syria or anywhere in the broader Middle East certainly gave me a greater context for what's happening there even now.
I thought, in certain ways, I thought it was going to be a love story, but really it's kind of a torment story in terms of my character. And so I was in the mood for that. But trusting Ruba was the number one thing, and really interested in working with Alexander, who I'd seen in Cairo Time, another one of Ruba's films. And I was very interested in the culture and the opportunity to delve into another culture, movement, language, everything,
We're so happy to welcome Alexander Siddig and Ruba Nadda here with us today. Congratulations on Inescapable to both of you. Marissa and Joshua were both just talking a bit about how they learned a lot about Syria and Syrian culture. And like Joshua said, a lot of us learn it from what we see in the media. So you're half Syrian, you're Syrian Canadian. What did you want to bring to us in terms of message and to the rest of the world about Syria through this movie about a man who, you know, is trying to find his kidnapped daughter and returning to the country that he fled?
I think for myself, the original idea started with a very personal story, and it was about a father who's been living in Toronto, Canada for the last 25 years, and he finds out that his daughter's been kidnapped in Damascus, and part of the reason why she's been kidnapped is tied into why he hasn't been back there in 25 years to his homeland. And so for me, it has to start with that personal story, and at the same time, because I lived in Damascus, Syria in my childhood, I was just so intrigued and fascinated by this corrupt regime, the police state, the paranoia, these KGB spies running around town. I mean, it's wild. And so I've always wanted to set a story in my home country, in Syria.
And for you?
It's a real place, and the most important thing, I think the most, probably the most astonishing thing was while we were filming it, the troubles at that point in January escalated to civil war. And it's very rare that you are filming a project when something happens in the country that catastrophically changes the game plan, changes everything that you're filming. And so we had to have meetings and discuss what would happen the next day and how we would approach the whole film right from start again, because of the fact that people were dying in suddenly their hundreds and not their dozens or ones and twos. I mean, it became catastrophic. So the tone of the film changed, and at the end of the day, we wanted to make sure that people understood what kind of place Syria was becoming, what kind of place the people there were living in, so that when they were watching the news, when they were watching these dreadful images, they could get a real sense of place. They could get a real sense of what they were not happily for them part of.
I was wondering about that. It's interesting. I had just spoken to the filmmakers of Twice Born, the film with Penelope Cruz, which takes place in the former Yugoslavia, in Bosnia, and deals with the Bosnian War. And about that challenge for both of you, how to bring across what we see in the news reports, which is sometimes you're kind of overwhelmed by the horror, but sometimes it doesn't have a face, it doesn't have a humanity. It just becomes this kind of horrible tragedy, but you don't really sympathize with the individual humanity of it.
No, it's just bodies under sheets.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
How do you bring across and inject that humanity into the story of what we're seeing in Syria right now?
Wow, that's a great question. I think the way that I've always tried to handle my movies is I'm not a very heavy-handed director. And so for me, I think the best way to approach such a heavy topic like this is to give it a very personal face. And how best can you do that in the form of this beautiful Arab man who's simply a father, and he would go to the ends of the earth trying to rescue his daughter. And so for me, I think I try to respect my audience, and I know that the more heavy-handed a director is and expository they are, the more an audience retreats. They're not interested in like a history lesson. They want to see a story unfold. And so while there's information about Syria there in the movie, the best that I can do as a director is give context of what's actually taking shape now and why and what and what's going on there.
One of the most parts of that story was, of course, the unrequited, lasting love between your character and the character that Marissa Tomei plays, but we don't actually get to see that backstory. So what did you all do to develop and get you and Marissa to that place for the film? Because it's heartbreaking and, you know, something that we almost want to see more of, but we can't, and that's what's good.
Thank you.
That's what she specializes in.
Thank you.
Unrequited love, tortured love, any kind you like is always never great. Yeah, I know.
I'll give you my life story when we're done. Please do. But really, how did you get to that place
Well,
together?
Marissa and I talked for a couple of hours when immediately she got off the plane. I mean, she had just flown for 18 hours, I believe, to South Africa, and she wanted dinner straight away. And that was
my kind of gal. I like
you know, she doesn't no messing around, hit the ground running, and that was the last time I met her, by the way. From that moment onwards, she became Fatima, and I never got to see Marissa Tomei again. I was like, that was 3 weeks ago I saw Mr. May, and she then just dived into this character. And I think that most of it came out of just talk about, it's just intimacy. You just try and be as intimate as quickly as you can. And actors tend to do that. And actors get into trouble a lot on set because of that, because we get intimate really quick and you've got to find a way to just cut it off when you need to, metaphorically. And there was a point where, when we were on set, where we looked at each other and she was talking about, and you haven't mentioned my English. My language, the fact that I've got English. And I was like, so what? And she was, I learned it because I was waiting for you to send for me. And that's when we both just went, I certainly crumbled and went, my God, she's got it. She knows, she has the pumping heart of this passionate Arab woman, and she's now displaying this tortured soul who's been abandoned. And the shipwreck that is left behind when all her hopes are pinned to one person who then abandons her.
I mean, you were remarking on her transformation in this.
Absolutely.
A woman who has played, I think her character in My Cousin Vinny, one of the most iconic Italian-American characters. You just think of her with that accent right away. Who is so transformed in this film. I know that we don't have you guys, unfortunately, for the entire show, but I did want to ask you about the other subtext of this. We were just talking about this before the camera started rolling, is that you are one of the two big Canadian female directors, yourself and Deepa Mehta, who have muchly anticipated, talked about films at this fest. Cannes Film Fest got a lot of critique for not showcasing female. To a degree, I cannot believe that we're still talking about this.
I know,
it seemed
me too.
years ago that Catherine Bigelow won that Oscar, and in her perfectly sculpted arm, held it up, and we thought, okay, this is going to open the floodgates. But it didn't. You were just saying, you told the story that people still see you guys and
they
think
come
that,
to me and say,
you're the director.
They think I'm the director and she's the star.
Part of it has to do with how gorgeous she looks.
She is.
So why can't this incredible director look this gorgeous? And I'm happy that you do. But yeah, to be honest.
Tell me about, why is it still so rare?
I think it's a couple of things. I think part of it is it's hard for women to look. With this movie, actually, the last movie, Cairo Time, it was a romance, and even though this one I had written it, I still had to convince everybody, except for my cast and my producer, that
Danny Iron, he worked with you on Cairo Time.
I love
too.
him.
He's great.
But I had to convince everybody that I could direct this, and everybody was like, "Well, it's a thriller. You've never done a thriller." It's like, yes, but who do you think wrote it? So it's just, I don't know. I think it's like they look at a woman and they don't think that she can actually command 200 people to actually listen to them. And in fact, it's the opposite. Women directors are the ones who come in on budget. Crews love working with them. They're decisive. They're friendly and they're passionate. And it's just, I don't know.
I do.
Tell me. Right before we go, can you
we're threatened by you. I mean, I'm talking on behalf of male directors, but and men in general, but we're threatened by you.
Why?
Because we like to, we've got nice, safe lives where we regurgitate our movies again and again through our eyes, and the world is masculine, and we reflect that, and you come along and you keep raising the damn bar because you see everything differently. And we cannot replicate that because you've got a fresh pair of eyes and a fresh heart and an openness and a kind of generosity that we don't possess.
I see.
That's why I love working with you.
But this is why I put my whole career, my whole life behind Alexander in this movie. This is why. Like, he's brilliant.
This is great. I feel like we're having like a panel discussion now on the sexual dynamics behind the camera.
Unfortunately, we do have to go, but congratulations to both of you. We were happy to see you paired again and here with us today.
Me too.
And we're going to leave everyone with a clip of the film, which you have to go see at TIFF, and when it opens in theaters worldwide.
Tomorrow.
Close enough. People don't have to wait for very long.
Guys, just a couple more sites and I'll be on my way home. I love you.
Peter, oh, thank God I caught you. Muna's gone missing in Damascus. When was the last time you spoke to her? 6 days now. 6 days.
Could you direct me to the embassy, please? I'd like to leave a message. Mr. Adib Abdul Karim is back in Damascus. My daughter's gone missing here.
I need your help.
All these years, no one from you. We were supposed to be married.
Please. You're the only one I trust.
Pleasure to meet you.
What can I help you with today?
My daughter's gone missing here.
You should have informed us of this sooner.
Frankly, I didn't think you'd be able to do very much.
Then why are you here?
In case something happens to me.
All right, let's get to our best TIFF moments. Since we are so far through the festival, we've got so many great stories to share. Our first best TIFF moment today is from Strombo, who hosted the press conference for Snoop Dogg's documentary Reincarnation. He's now Snoop Lion. And George has been a big fan his whole life, and here's what he had to say about that task.
And there was a moment, it's about 3 in the morning on Saturday night, when I was sitting in a chair at the Great Hall, and I was almost getting rocked from a contact high, because the entire venue was a hot box, right? And I looked to my right, and I was sitting beside and talking to Snoop Dogg, and I thought, yeah, this is rad. I put my first car stereo in, my first proper car stereo in, because of Snoop's Doggy Style and Dre's The Chronic, right? I heard it on my buddy's car. The next day, I put a big subwoofer in.
Hi, sorry, we're trying to decide which camera we look at. Okay, that's a kind of a glimpse behind the scenes, this moment. Just one of many of what we go through when we try to put together this crazy coverage of TIFF. Another favorite thing of mine, and I think, Jamie, you would agree with this as well, is when you interview the cast or a director and you discover something that you did not necessarily anticipate. Often you get the pat answers, like working with this director has been my lifelong dream, and we all loved each other. The cast was like a family. But we know what the truth is. Or our Laura Thompson found out some unusual things when she spoke to the cast of End of Watch. Have a look.
We're here in Newton, one of the toughest divisions in the LAPD.
The directing comes in the 5 months prior, and it's organizing activities for them, the training and the run, jump, fight, shoot stuff. Their homework was to develop a real relationship. They didn't really get along at first. So I was kind of freaking out.
It needed a lot of work in the in the first couple months, and then halfway through rehearsal, like it started to click. And I don't know if it's because we both like have egos or something, or I don't know why it was, but it just wasn't working out in the beginning.
That bond is made by, in the face of violence, in the face of different scenarios they find themselves in the face of protecting themselves for real. So in order to get that for real, yeah, I mean, it's almost close to impossible for 2 actors to do, but we tried to get as close, and in order to do that, you have to get into the muck with each other.
Like, I really respect the guy as an actor. You know, he's had some amazing choices, you know, and some daring choices too. And I know that he cares, and he really, you know, his entire family is like one of, like, you know, they're artists.
You're my brother. If anything happened to you, I'm gonna take care of your kids.
I guess through the hell I put them through, at some point it just clicked, and they really did become amazing friends. And I think they bonded because they're both incredibly gifted, and they developed a mutual respect for each other's abilities.
They didn't like
Fascinating details that Laura Thompson got. See, she got it first from the director and then pursued it with the rest of the cast.
That's
so
good journalism.
Very interesting. All right, on to happier moments at the E1 Festival party. Our guys got the cast of the Sapphires in song. Anything can happen at the Red Party of a Carpet. Check that out. Aren't they gorgeous?
So gorgeous, and they sound so beautiful.
The
It must have been a very hard work for the
Yeah.
gentlemen of CBC Live.
Poor guys. Well, we have them locked in a bathroom for a half-hour day, so let them go out and have some fun with the Beyonce of Australia, which the one in white is called. All right, so we have a lot. TIFF is almost over, but the fall season on CBC is starting
The
very,
action
very
does
soon.
not stop. In fact, it's just about to start rolling.
Over the Rainbow is a major show. It premieres on Sunday. This is The Search for the Dorothy that's going to be in the Mervish production, and we've got a whole lot of other great shows, so we've got a fall preview for you, Diana. Have you seen it yet?
I have not seen the fall preview yet. I've done a lot of coverage on Over the Rainbow. They have an amazing roster of contestants. I've outed myself to you before. I have auditioned for Maria in The Sound of Music. I think I'm a tad long in the tooth for Dorothy, maybe a little bit. But the contestants have been amazing. They've actually tried to do a bit of colorblind casting so that a role of Dorothy would not necessarily go to a Caucasian girl, which I think is so fantastic.
Absolutely.
So I think it's going to be a stellar show.
I
it's
love
going to be
those
so much
competitive
fun.
singing and dancing and acting shows. But this is everything we've got coming up for fall.
Excellent.
So
much
check
more
it out,
goodies.
guys.
Great.
Isn't Uncle Kevin wonderful?
I think she's ready.
This is the National. Welcome to the Fifth Estate.
You're not live, are you?
I have a very curious mind.
I'm getting a little bit weepy. I'm full of institutional love for CBC now.
A lot of familiar faces.
Yeah,
there,
it's so
of course.
great.
All right,
Great
so the
preview.
season starts officially on Sunday with the premiere of Over the Rainbow that you saw a little bit of, and then we've got a big week of premieres. But we're still in TIFF, so
We are.
although this is our last live stream show, we will continue our coverage on cbc.ca/live.
Right.
You guys are continuing on cbc.ca/TIFF.
Yep.
Deanna, overall thoughts of the festival this year?
This is I was trying to count whether it's my 8th or 9th festival. Every year I try to learn something.
Okay.
This year, films have been dark and often disturbing. I went to see Paperboy yesterday, some scenes in it that I will not forget for a long time. This is a Lee Daniels film. He did Precious previously. Films have been very dark. I feel like last year there was a few movies like Moneyball and like The Ides of March, which were just not necessarily lighter, but they were not so. I've seen a lot of gruesome scenes.
A lot of visual.
A lot of visually
yes.
gruesome scenes, like really directors pushing the edge. But the parties have been lavish. I feel like with the addition of the Shangri-La Hotel here in Toronto and the opening of the Soho House, we have yet another venue that you know is an A-list venue. For me personally, this was the first year that I actually did go to a lot of parties.
Oh, really?
I just summoned up that energy. I realized that I'm too wired
Some
at the
B12
end.
maybe?
Some B12, some fizzy vitamin C. I realized that at the end of a red carpet, I'm actually too wired to go to sleep, even though it would be a prudent idea. So I did go to a lot of parties. Seeing Bruce Willis at Soho House was pretty amazing. I mean, I've watched him my entire life. I wanted to tell him my mom had a crush on him, but I thought that might make him sound old, so I didn't.
I also will add that a lot of sex in movies, even
Yes.
FDR gets down and dirty, and that's all I'm going to say. Perhaps the best review of Hyde Park on the Hudson someone has given.
Yep.
And, of course, for me, this did not make me tired of films. I don't want to not see films for a while. It got me into the groove even more.
Totally.
I want to see the new ones. I want to go back and see their old work. We've got a lot of homework coming out of here. So again, everyone, follow us at CBC Live. Follow at CBC Arts. Go to cbc.ca/TIFF. for continued coverage. Let's thank everyone here in the room and close this
We've had
down.
an amazing team here. We do have a very handsome gentleman that we do keep locked up in a bathroom, and that's not even a joke. That's our makeshift control room.
That's
so
Adam
to
Asimov and James
Adam
Cooper.
and James and Dinu have been so incredible, making us look good. And you know, we were talking about
Given
female
our
directors.
hours.
Yeah, given our hours. So we want to give a huge thanks to these guys, and of course our CBC Arts team with Laura Thompson, Eli Glasner, Zuleka Nathu, all of our fantastic producers. Nigel, Alice, Sean, everyone, you guys are great.
Right over here is Mary Garrettson. I'm almost
Mary.
touching her right now. And of course, at the office at CBC Live, we've got Callum Shanlin and Emily Pratt. Sam Majuli was helping us with all our guests. We've got Leslie Wasserman watching, giving us notes every day.
Amazing.
And you have
The Waz.
Jessica Wong on
And we have Jessica
CBC.ca.
Wong on CBC.ca and our executive producer, Donna Lee April. That rounds off our amazing team.
Thanks to everyone, and thanks to you, Deanna.
Oh, thank you. It's
And
been
thanks
so
to you
great to be a
guys.
part of this. Bye.